Describe the role of the agencies and the NGOs, the agencies of federal government, the NGOs. Describe their role in how they brought these people into your community.
That's the million-dollar question. The only thing it comes back to is the NGOs.
When did this start?
Roughly about 2022, we saw an influx.
So you're saying it's primarily NGOs that were driving these people in, is that correct?
Yes.
Should locals have a say in this happening?
Absolutely.
I just introduced a bill in regards to refugees called the CARE Act that would give state and locals a say in this rather than the federal government just taking these actions, just an FYI. Has this led to a housing shortage in your community?
It's led to longtime Charlevoix residents selling their homes and leaving. What used to be a heavily homeownership to landlord-tenant, 75 to 25, 60 to 40, has reversed that trend, and it's now heavy on landlord-tenant to homeownership, and a lot of those landlord-tenant are immigrant-related.
So it's decreased home ownership in your community?
Yes.
Which has always been a bedrock of the American dream, right?
You're absolutely right.
Be able to own your own home. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Did I hear correctly, Mr. Fishman, that climate change is used as a justification not to return people to their home countries? Did I hear that right? Turn your mic on.
Sorry about that. Not only is it used, it's used for climate change having absolutely nothing to do with the event that precipitated TPS in the first place. It's, not much rainfall. Well, that could exist for thousands of years. That's not temporary.
Is an earthquake climate change? Are earthquakes caused by climate change?
Well, I think geological are also factored in there, geological conditions.
Yeah, okay. Does the program as it's currently set up and how it's been for the last few decades, does it lead to fraud in the immigration system?
I think it very likely does lead to fraud, especially as Mr. Rogers was talking about, people being designated, people receiving TPS benefits who came here well after the initial designation, in many cases by giving fraudulent information about when they came to the United States.
Mr. Rogers, same question.
Yes, absolutely could lead to fraud. Like Mr. Fishman said, the form just asks a date for when you arrived, and they can fill in any date they want.
What types of fraud would you see with something? What types of fraud have you seen as a result of this?
Well, personally, as a consular officer, I never dealt with TPS beneficiaries, but the kind of fraud you'd see is that kind of thing, is falsification of dates. The whole point of TPS is supposed to be temporary. When you have permanent immigrants coming, there's lots of vetting that just doesn't happen that's required for a permanent immigrant. And that's one of the problems is this has become a program for permanent immigration that doesn't do all that vetting.
So I just want to respond in regards to Mr. Williams' testimony, and thank you for that testimony. You referred to the wealth gap, and you are correct. And part of the reason for the wealth gap is those business owners that you were referencing have brought in cheap labor. And it's kept labor rates down as a result of bringing cheap labor in. When you have 10 million people that came in in the last 4 years, that's going to drive wages down. And you commented about the inability to act by Congress. This body acted last session to put in place a strong immigration reform. We did do that. I'll yield back.